All right, SpongeBob. He's ready. Justin's ready. I'm ready. We're all ready. Everybody's ready. Everybody in the club getting ready. So that's a song, right? No, no. Okay, but anyway, we're talking about Stone Cold podcast with Triple H that just happened last night. It was a good podcast, I guess. I feel like overall, before we even get started, I feel like Triple H tried his best to jump around and try his best to not answer the question. Like he was like CM Punk. He was like, eh, eh, eh. I, I mean, there's no beef, and like I was like, wait a minute now, like. Anyway, it just felt like he was kind of skipped. You know, he was going all the way around the bush without actually cutting down the bush. I guess you could say. It was. Did you guys think that? I know Casey thought that. I just heard him. But Justin, did you feel that way too?
Yeah, I thought he did that. Well, he didn't do as much as Vince McMahon did. He did that like a lot. He tried to swerve around the questions.
I,
Yeah,
I feel like he did it better than Vince.
yeah, he did do better than Vince.
You could see Austin kind of getting frustrated with him. Like, dude, like I've known you for 20 years. Don't BS me. Like you could see on his face. Like I was waiting for the stunner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. Yeah, I could see it too. Yeah, it was interesting.
But I mean, there was some
So
good that I liked about it. Uh,
yeah, I like that these podcasts don't try to insult our intelligence. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it could be very gimmicky and could be like really weird, but like the first question he asked was like, how do you book in a non kayfabe business? Like where it doesn't feel like
yeah,
it feels like everybody knows everything.
yeah.
And
Yeah. I like how he did open with talking about how kayfabe has basically died.
Yeah.
So, how do you? And I did like that he basically sort of admitted that fans know about the business. A lot of guys like Cena will just say, fans don't know about the business, blah blah blah, but we do. We know how it works now. So it was like, so how do you kind of book in a when the fans know so much? Like we're not dumb. You can't try to just put something over our head and expect us not to know what's going on. Um,
yeah, yeah. I mean, and he talked about being aware of what the fans wanted. Um, he talked about doing a storyline and trying to keep it the way you want it, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to, he said, call an audible. That was like the next big thing. And Austin talked about how the reaction to Roman and why is Roman getting this push and stuff like that. And Triple H said the big crowds are booing Roman, but at the live events, he said he noticed that really no one was really booing him then. And I feel like on Raw he got a really nice face
yeah,
reaction. It felt like
Hmm.
Stone Cold said he didn't really earn it, and I've heard Casey say stuff about this. He didn't really earn it, as far as not necessarily that he doesn't deserve it, but more so there's been guys that have been there all the time, and haven't been out because of injury.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
think Austin kind of agreed with the fans on that one.
I mean, it's just the fact that he was gone for a couple months with an injury, and then he comes back, and he's
And he
right
pushes
back.
all the other guys to the back of the line, and he's at the
Yeah,
front of the line. I just didn't like that.
yeah. The one thing that and I'm sorry to the viewers, we are kind of jumping around because we didn't really, this is a harder show to do, but Triple H was talking about how the fans say WWE doesn't listen to them, and not or hold on. He said the fans don't listen to we don't want Cena. He says, but Cena packs arenas. Cena sells so much merchandise, and this bothered me because I was like, yes, he sells so much merchandise because, and I looked on WWEshop.com. He has 38 T-shirts in, men, women, children sizes, not 38 separate T-shirts, but in a sense, he has 38 T-shirts. He has a sweatshirt, 7 tank tops, 5 long sleeve shirts, etc. All the other superstars average maybe 2 to 3 T-shirts, maybe a couple other items. Of course, he's gonna sell more product. Like that's this most stupid thing I've ever heard. Like, if you have a store, let's say you have one store here and you have one store next door. The one store that has more items is going to sell more than the smaller store. It just it
It's
annoys
just common
me.
sense, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even Daniel Bryan, the most over guy in the company, doesn't even have half the stuff that Cena has. And it's like, if you gave him as much stuff as Cena does, he'd sell as much merchandise too, That just kind of bothered me that they think we're dumb in that respect.
Yeah, and I got an actual section that's like tired of Cena. Um, like you said, he packs arenas and sells merch, which makes sense because of the amount he has. Um, he did
And he
say
gets the
though,
most reaction also. He gets booed, most of the fans boo him these days.
yeah,
Except the little kids and the girls and some adults like him.
he said you can't really find a guy that everyone likes. Not everyone's gonna be drawn to a specific character or something like that. He said, but in the Attitude Era, there was a tight demographic.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
Well,
so do you guys agree with that? That it's just a different time. Like
I,
it's just how it is.
Like he called it the reality era. This is the reality era.
yeah, I'll let Justin go on that one first before I. Do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts?
we're gonna talk about the reality era here in a second. Um, do you think the demographic is different though? And obviously it is, but do you think how so? Do you think it's changed, Justin? Is what I'm
Um, I think it's changed a lot because there's these section of fans. Like there's these you got little kids, and then you got the family group, and then you got like the 30-year-olds. The hardcore big wrestling marks. I think that's how it changed a lot. There's just a variety of different wrestling fans now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, I was just gonna say that it's kind of at this point where WWE is. I feel like it's kind of the more of the hardcore fan that's still there. I feel like because it's changed so much. Like in the Attitude Era, everybody was watching it because there was so much into it. It was so edgy. They were bringing in guys like Mike Tyson and stuff like that, so it brought in everybody. And I feel like it was. I feel like it's a tighter demographic now than it was in the Attitude Era, being as now it feels like there's more hardcore fans. Like just yesterday, I was sitting at a restaurant yesterday, and my friend was like, "Why do you even watch wrestling?" And I was like, "I guess I'm just a big fan of it. I've always been a big fan of it, And so I feel like it's more of a tight demographic now, more so than it was before."
Yeah, because all my friends at school, they go like, why do you even watch wrestling? Wrestling's not even popular. Like, what are you talking about? Like, wrestling's, like, there's millions of people that watch it. Like,
Yeah. First of all, I want to say in this part is he was saying it's hard to find that one guy that everyone loves, but we don't necessarily need one guy that everyone loves. We just don't need one guy shoved down our throats that we want the hell out of here. And that's what they've done with John Cena for like 15 years now. And I think part of why we get so mad at these guys that they push down our throat is like, we are hardcore fans. We know real wrestling. We know, real entertainment. A lot of these, John Cena type guys, and even to an extent like Jeff Hardy's and Seth Rollins,
And Dean Ambrose and
a lot of these younger fans or like girls or teenage fans or whatever just say, "Oh, this guy's hot. I'm gonna watch this." But and that's I think that's like a lot of how it, they did get more of a demographic. They get the teen girls who think, and I'm not saying anything against any girls because there are like legitimate wrestling fans that are girls that but then there are those kind of, I don't want to use the term teeny bopper, but that's what they are. They're like, oh, he's so cute. I can't wait till Jeff Hardy takes his shirt off. I can't wait to see John Cena, but whatever. And that's what really annoys me is the people that aren't the hardcore fans that just come to see like a circus show or whatever. It just annoys me because I want to see something real, something that's being taken seriously, like the business was back in the Attitude Era. It was serious, and it had to be back then because it was sink or swim. It was WCW versus WWE. One of the companies was going to go out of business. Um, I think that's a lot of why we like the Attitude Era so much because it was real. We weren't getting stupid, gimmicky crap all the time.
and we were getting like 30-minute segments also.
Yeah.
Into the Monday Night Raw, like, I don't want to see a 30-minute segment.
Yeah.
I just hate. I want to see wrestling. That's what I want to see. I see good wrestling. And I like how they talked about, like how Triple H talked about the backstage, about the what's it called, the writing team. I like how he talked about that. And, like, he took us behind the scenes of what goes behind stage, which that was really cool. I wasn't expecting him to talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's what like the hardcore fans like. Like it's more than just the wrestling. It's more than just what you see on TV. Like we love like the WrestleMania. What was it called? Not WrestleMania. WWE 24 or thing they just did. Like I thought, and I think all three of us felt like that was really cool because it took us behind the scenes on the stuff we didn't get to see about WrestleMania 30. And I feel like the people outside of the hardcore fans don't really care about that. They just care about kind of what's on TV. Are they entertained or whatever? To where we care about much more than that. It feels like.
Yeah. Well, even when he was talking about how he, when he kind of stepped out of that main, wrestling, lifestyle and started getting into the backstage, he was, really interested in how, camera angles, how certain things worked, and that's like what a lot of us hardcore fans are kind of getting into. Like, I love the stuff, finding out how things work backstage. I mean, even watching Total Divas to a point, you kind of get an idea of how storylines are, thought up.
Yeah.
How
and
things.
It goes beyond the ring too, and that's always a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cool, that stuff that we would love to see. I mean, it even goes. I could even point it to like NFL Network. They'll show you things like in the locker room that huge NFL fans love to see, like backstage stuff. It's not just a show. There's so much that goes into it. Which I like that he kind of. It showed that he is a fan too. He's not just a guy who happened to be a bodybuilder that didn't work out and decided to be a wrestler. Not taking any jabs at anybody in general. That it has the initials JC, but hey.
All right. So I think you were, but
Yeah.
actually talked about the reality era, and I feel like he didn't give a great definition of the reality era. It felt like Austin was looking for like where it came from, and what it is, and I didn't feel like he gave a good definition of that. Personally, to me, I feel like the reality era is that era of we know a little
What's
bit
going
more
on?
than I think we're supposed to know. Yeah,
Like we know
we know
more the hardcore wrestling fans, they sometimes they go looking for the dirt sheets, I liked how he talked about the
yeah.
dirt sheets. And it's easier to find the dirt sheets these days, like you can just go onto a wrestling forum and you can just go find one easily. Like
Yeah.
on NoDQ.com, like other places like Wrestling Inc. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go find things there.
Well, yeah. He also said, they can't throw non-reality stuff in fans' faces because we know the ins and outs of the business. And I was like, okay, well, if you can't throw non-reality in our face, explain the bunny, explain El Torito. There's still, and I know a while back they were saying it was going to take a while for the reality era to set in. It wasn't just going to be an overnight. But still, I mean, why do we have this stupid stuff that, yeah, it's entertainment, but it's just...
That's more for the little kids.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that's what, like, Saturday Morning Slam was for. That was, what Superstars was for. That was for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Leave something for us. And we'll get to it later. He did talk about, NXT being for more of the hardcore fans, but actually, next I have a Twitter question. If you guys want me to do that one,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do that.
okay. Well, we had a Twitter question. The question was for Triple H was, with the Performance Center, do you think it's beneficial that talent goes to wrestling school, then to the Performance Center rather than the indies? And he basically said it depends on the guy. He gave Kurt Angle as an example, had never watched the product before, and he was one of the fastest guys to pick it up. He also said that sometimes it's harder to take a guy in the indies and knock off the bad habits than to take a guy who's has been a fan all his life and teach him from scratch. This kind
because
of
like a guy in the indies, sorry to interrupt you, but a guy in the indies, they're not going to listen to you, like they're not going to listen to the trainer because they're going to do it their own way, like they always done in the indies. Like speaking of Finn Balor, he never told any, he never got talking to, told how to do something.
Yeah. But it almost seemed offensive to me to the indie guys. Like he was kind of putting them down and putting the indies down. And it was like, most of those guys, yeah, I'm sure they're going to have bad habits, but 90% of them are more talented than most of the guys on the main roster, And who says those guys? Most of those guys did go to wrestling schools. Most indie companies aren't just going to take some guy who doesn't know anything. They have gone to wrestling school. Ring of Honor has its own wrestling school. Most indies have their own, wrestling school or something like that, So that kind of just it seemed offensive to the indie guys to me.
Yeah, I feel like that term, bad habits was the issue more than anything, because it's like bad. I was kind of like, what's going on with that too? Because I'm like, just because they don't wrestle WWE style right away doesn't mean it's a bad habit. You can build a quote WWE guy off of what we've seen in Ring of Honor. That's why some of the most talented guys at NXT are so good, because they came from the indies and they've been able to adjust to the WWE style to a point. Because I don't feel like Sami Zayn has changed a ton of his stuff from when he was in the indies, but I still feel like it's still a little WWE-esque as well.
Yeah, and he also said that different places do have different styles, and WWE tries to give their fans what they want, and I was like, they really don't. I mean, they do in NXT because that's what we want. We want action-packed wrestling. We want innovative wrestling. We want wrestling. We don't want 2 hours of stupid storyline and annoying promos and maybe half an hour of crappy wrestling, which we get like a lot of times on Raw. On NXT, we get what we really want. You know, the
And it's
hardcore.
only an hour of wrestling also, so
Yeah,
I mean it's easy to sit through.
yeah.
And something I have to say when we get later onto the video about changing it back to 2 hours.
Yeah. And Austin did talk about how he loves NXT and he loves kind of the organic feel to it, and the wrestling. He really put an emphasis on the wrestling, you know, the promos, how they open the show. It's not always a 30-minute promo. Um, and he kind of asked what it was modeled after, and Triple H said, you know, it was basically what he would want to see out of a wrestling show, and the fan base. And that's when he said, you know, that's what it's geared for, the more the hardcore kind of wrestling fans like us. But then it's also to kind of teach these guys, you know, the ins and outs of, you know, wrestling. It's not the big Raw show, so you know they have time to kind of, you know, if they make a mistake, okay, they can kind of give them an idea, they can go with it, and then critique them later, which it was cool. But I definitely agreed with Austin. You know, it feels more organic, more laid back, but at the same time competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I heard this thing what Triple H said on the podcast about he wants to take the NXT superstars on the road with them, which, you know, like take them to different cities, you know, to get them have a feel what it's like to be on the road. Because
wasn't he talking
they're not on the road very much.
NXT as a legit brand? Wasn't he talking about? I think that's what he was doing, right?
He mentioned that, which I felt like it already is its own legitimate brand, you know.
But it's smaller. But
Well, I think he said something about, you know, TV exposure. You know, it's a little bit different as far as being on the network and being on TV is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And Triple H talked about this something like this weird camera angle they do at NXT. I can't remember what he called it, but it was this weird camera angle. Like, I
He
don't know.
kind of talked about different camera angles and, you know, things that you don't think about really, that, you know, kind of bring the show a new dynamic. But
Yeah. So yeah, he was talking about NXT, and I think we mentioned pretty much everything. And then Austin kind of asked him who was the next breakout star. I feel like this was another question he really didn't answer too well. He was like, "You just see guys who have the it factor." You know, like he didn't really give any specifics. He didn't even list like a group of people. It just felt like it was just kind of a generic answer. It felt like. I don't know if you guys thought that. He also said it depends on how well you can mold a character, and he mentioned the Undertaker and how that character is pretty specific and how it's been molded over the years.
And I like how he referred to this, like, you can't teach it's something about this horse, like you can only lead a horse for so long, but then you have to let the horse go by itself, you know, drink by itself. So it was something like that, which I do agree with that, you know, because you can only teach wrestlers so much, and they have to learn off of that themselves. Then they have to improve off of that.
well, he kind of talked about how you can only lead talent so far before they have to kind of take their own lead. And then
Yeah.
I like how he gave the example of Undertaker. He's like, you know, you could have given that character to 100 different guys and it would have
And it
failed.
would have failed,
but,
yeah.
But Mark took it and he made it work, you know. And you have to find a guy like that who can, you know, make something work. But he was kind of vague about the answer. He just kind of said, I see a lot of guys like that, and it was like, okay, well, who besides John Cena? Who?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is kind of a hard one to answer, and I think it's very opinion based a little bit. And I feel like he could have gave a specific answer just because, um, he sees it, he sees what they do in and out, he sees NXT, he sees all of that. So I feel like he would have had a better answer than maybe even some fans would have had. Because I can't even come up with a breakout star per se, because I feel like there's so much talent that they have. It's just going to depend on how they use it.
But then I feel like also maybe it's good that he didn't specifically pick anyone specifically out, because you don't want to make anyone angry. You know what I mean? You don't want to specifically make someone upset. Saying, okay, this guy. Well, then some fans are gonna be like, well, why doesn't this guy have what it takes, or why doesn't this guy? Maybe keeping it vague kind of helped out a little bit.
Yeah, and it leaves some room for surprises too. So maybe the guy you really want, Tyler Breeze, to get that push. Maybe it'll happen.
Sami Zayn, what?
He also, this was a little bit earlier. He said something about, Austin said, "How do you know when you're ready?" And Triple H said, "Superstars are never ready." I just want to know if y'all agree with that, about him saying that superstars are never truly ready.
I kind of agree. I think it's sort of similar to when they say when you stop being nervous, that's when it stops being fun. I think it's kind of the same thing there. When you feel like you're ready, maybe you're not ready anymore. I don't think anyone's really ready, and that's what makes you a better performer. I don't necessarily think maybe when Daniel Bryan got his first World Heavyweight Championship, maybe he wasn't ready, but he took that and he made it work.
And he ran with the ball.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But then, unfortunately, he got injured, and
yeah.
I mean, I do agree with, what Triple H said, pretty much superstars are never ready. Or who said that again? Was it Stone Cold or Triple H? I think it was Triple H.
It was Triple H, yeah.
Yeah, it was Triple H who said that. I do agree with that.
I mean, even when he said he wasn't ready when he was given the, that big push, but then the whole thing happened with the click, the breaking kayfabe, and that's how Austin got his chance, which was cool that they kind of mentioned that back when that happened.
And I like how Stone Cold said that pretty much most of the fans like to cheer for the heels these days. Like when you go to a heel town, they're not very much cheering for the faces; they're cheering for the heels. Which I
like it when they go to somebody's hometown and like they cheer for them. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and
as far as that question goes, I think personally, it depends. I feel like maybe your first time you're not ready, but who's to say the next time, or your fifth time or your eighth time, that you're not ready anymore? Because I feel like once you've had the experience, you got to be somewhat ready, right?
But then again, you got to think. A lot of people don't have second, third, fourth times. You gotta, when they give you that chance, you
have to run with it.
You're not. You have to go for it.
You have to hit it out of the field, like if you want to. And
that was almost. Casey, you were saying something?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Sammy, I was about to say something, but
we'll move on. He asked about China, and he said, "Will China ever go to the Hall of Fame?" Triple H says she absolutely deserves it, but there's things in her life that she's done outside of wrestling that could hinder her Obviously talking about her porn career. Um, he says there's no beef on this end, but he says he doesn't want my 8-year-old son to, see
Know
China get into
who China is.
yeah, and then see something like that.
This
And my question is, do you think she deserves it? And do you think she ever will get it? I kind of put her in that same kind of category, and not to say that porn is this bad, but I put her in that Chris Benoit category as just because of what happened outside of the ring. That's the reason you won't get into the Hall of Fame, because WWE can't have that,
Because that will reflect bad on WWE's part.
Yeah,
Really bad.
I mean, he did say that, if she was put in the Hall of Fame and, like you said, his 8-year-old son said, oh, hey, let's me look up China, there would be some questionable, material about her online. But at the same time, WWE not that long ago, the Attitude Era really wasn't, if you think about it, not that long ago. It was, but it wasn't. But they would regularly make sexual innuendos. They would regularly promote their divas in Playboy magazine. So it's kind of like, even Trish Stratus.
I think that's where she differs from Chris Benoit too, is because
like Trish Stratus is in the Playboy, or is in the Hall of Fame, and she was in Playboy. Your kids can look up same type of material on her. It doesn't seem fair. I mean, China is a little bit different because she did legitimate porn, but it's still for what she did for the business, I think she deserves to be in there.
Yeah.
And I think the PG era kind of maybe has
something to do with it a little bit.
The issue with there.
Yeah.
I don't think that Triple H put her in the kind of the Chris Benoit category of people that probably will never be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was about to talk about Chris Benoit, but yeah.
Yeah. I think he kind of mentioned that a little bit. Like, he kind of passively mentioned Chris Benoit without actually saying Chris Benoit.
Yeah, I thought he was going to mention Chris Benoit. Like, oh, here we go. We're going to hear Chris Benoit. Like, no, we didn't hear it.
What I think is really unfair is people like China and Chris Benoit and many others don't get in the Hall of Fame, and yet people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump, and Drew Carey are in there. They're not even wrestlers. They've been in WWE one time for like a WrestleMania or whatever.
And I was wondering, before Ultimate Warrior got into the Hall of Fame, I was wondering if he was ever going to get to the Hall of Fame with his issues.
Yeah. It's like, why do they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame being celebrities, and these amazing talents don't get in? It's just not fair, Yeah,
I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, so after that, he talked about CM Punk. He asked him his thoughts on CM Punk. Triple H says he never had any beef with him. He didn't say this term, but he said he went to the effect of he's kind of a loner.
He didn't really talk much.
Coming back if the WWE Universe wants it. So I don't know. I feel like Triple H is not a big fan of CM Punk at all.
Yeah, he just tried to swerve that question. He was like, let's just talk about something else. Let's not talk about CM Punk.
I was watching it, and I'm like, I don't think he's going to react well to this one.
And he goes like, Stone Cold asked if CM Punk ever be back in WWE. And then Triple H says, never say never. But he's pretty much saying no, and he's never coming back.
That's that typical WWE answer. We'll never say never,
Yeah, that's the same thing Vince McMahon said.
You know what? Since they didn't want to talk about it, moving on. But no, there was another question that Austin asked that I really was interested in. Unless you guys had any more about CM Punk, because
I mean, there's not really too much on CM Punk to say.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really talk about him much, and.
But Austin asked Triple H, who he thinks was more influential, NWO or DX. Triple H said
For a while,
NWO was massively influential because it took kind of that reality slant with Kevin and Scott going over to WCW, making it look like it was an invasion, and then Hogan joining. But the massive impact that they had quickly dissipated because just so many people were added to it, and it got watered down real quick. But DX probably did more over time in their various incarnations, which I agree with, to kind of be influential in the company or in the business. But I like that because I know a lot of NWO and DX fans always, had that debate, who was better, NWO or DX, and unfortunately, we never got that NWO versus DX match that we all dreamed about. So that was cool that he brought that up. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I agree with what Triple H said. Like NWO was, impactful for a while, but it didn't really last. It lasted for a little bit, for quite a while. But DX was more spread out, like you said. Like during the whole career, it was more spread out. I couldn't talk there for a minute, but yeah.
See, I feel like the NWO was more influential because the NWO was the only reason DX was created in the first place.
Yeah, because then they went over
Yeah,
to
but
invade
they wouldn't have
WCW.
took that chance on the NWO. WWE wouldn't even have had to make that move to go to the more, sexual innuendos and stuff like that. That kind of created DX.
Yeah.
So after that, he talked about wrestling versus sports entertainment. Triple H said he understands both sides. He said he used an analogy: anyone can play football, but very few make it to the NFL. And more so, I think he meant are successful in the NFL. So I don't know if either of you two guys had any more details on that. That's really all I wrote down for that one. Any thoughts on the wrestling versus sports entertainment thing?
Nope.
No, I don't know. I still I think sports entertainer kind of takes away from the fact that you're a professional wrestler. Like it makes you, I don't know.
Yeah, because the Stone Cold said he'd rather be considered a wrestler than a sports entertainer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I would if I was a wrestler, I'd rather be preferred or a professional wrestler because that's what it is. It's professional wrestling. You
And that's
know,
what that's what we're here to watch. We're not here
yeah.
to watch. I
Even
mean,
though
yes, it's sports
WWE
entertainment,
technically
but
changed their name to just WWE, that second W was always wrestling. It wasn't. They just
that's
changed entertainment basically when they had to because of
the World Wildlife Foundation. Whoops, we shouldn't be talking about this. It's gonna get banned.
yeah. That's really why WWF became WWE, which I still am against. I still wish they were WWF. I think a lot of things changed when they became WWE, and it kind of went downhill from there, personally.
hmm
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think pro wrestler embodies all of that anyway. So I feel
hmm
like, as a pro wrestler, you gotta be able to wrestle, obviously, and you gotta be able to, at least cut a decent promo. It feels like, at least to be accepted by the fans.
Yeah,
And I like what they said, like what Triple H said. You can't just be a big guy. You can't just be a high flyer. You can't just be someone who can talk on the mic. And you can't just be a guy who's good at technical wrestling. You have to be good at a lot of things in wrestling to get over with the crowd. You just can't have one thing and be
They asked
pushed.
him about the status of Brock Lesnar's contract. He said that's basically up to Brock. And then they talked about the streak. And Stone Cold asked it, did he see, which way would you have rather it go? He said, I see the value in both, more so giving it back. And he said it's done so much for Brock. So, any thoughts on Brock Lesnar's contract or the streak? His words about that?
I mean, I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to resign. I mean, who knows? He could resign if, like Triple H said, if there's unfinished business. But I mean, it's just up to Brock Lesnar if he's going to resign. If he's going to go back to UFC or yeah. What do you think, Casey?
I'm still not. I was more of a fan of his, and I really wasn't a fan back then. But now looking back, I like Brock Lesnar back like early 2000s when he was originally in WWE. I don't like him now. I don't like that he's a part-timer. I don't think it makes him any more special. He just doesn't impress me. I mean, and I know a lot of fans are huge fans of his, but he just doesn't do anything for me, and it bothers me that he's a part-timer and he's given the spot that tons of other guys deserve more that are there that aren't part-timers, and it
like Daniel Bryan. Cough.
Not even Daniel Bryan anymore. Like I like Daniel Bryan, but there's other guys that deserve it. That
like Seth Rollins.
Well, Seth Rollins,
Dean Ambrose.
Wyatt, Dean Ambrose.
Well, Dean Ambrose, he doesn't. I mean, he's getting ready to go for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, but that's just I don't know.
Dolph Ziggler, Bad News Barrett, which he should have had a World Championship a long time ago, but that's for another topic.
So many guys that deserve it. That for a part timer to have it, it's just I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Well, and as far as Daniel Bryan goes, I feel like Daniel Bryan does deserve it because every time he gets it, somehow he gets screwed out of it. His first run was not even really of his doing per se.
Yeah, because he got stripped of it after Night of Champions, and at SummerSlam he got cashed in on.
But I mean, he had the World Heavyweight Championship before when he had that heel run. I think a lot of people are overlooking that.
It was. I didn't really like that run as much as I liked.
But still, he had it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
Vince McMahon had the title, but I mean, is anybody like,
Well, he was clearly the best WWE champion we've ever had. In history, Vince, if you're watching this, in history.
Vince ain't watching this, Casey. Yeah.
Kane had it too. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. But and as far as Brock Lesnar goes, I don't like it either. I don't like the part-time thing. I feel like it's kind of grown on me because like a lot of times when you see him, it's just like, oh, he's finally back. Finally, it's like it's kind of exciting.
He'll be defending the championship.
Yeah, like you just finally see him and you're like, oh, okay, LOL, thought he was dead. And they don't know what he was.
Like, wait a minute, that's not the right voice.
All right, but after that, he talked about promos a little bit. Stone Cold talked about how tight and scripted they are. It feels like today, and he's talked about Triple H said it's a product of time. Stone Cold asked him, "Do you not trust the talent?" And Triple H said, "Well, it's a trust level, and it's kind of live TV." And he says that we also have to be careful of the sponsors that we have. And he said in NXT, I try to go the other route so we can get back to that not as tight, not as scripted type of promos. With this, I kind of like what he said here. I like that he mentioned NXT, and because we know that NXT is like an alternate type of feel, it's kind of cool. You can kind of see that Triple H, and it gives you a little hope too. You can kind of see that Triple H is working with them, and it gives you some hope that maybe in the future this is what WWE is going to be. Period. It's not just going to be the alternative brand. It's going to be what WWE is. So, Justin, any thoughts on the mention about promos?
Yeah, I do have something to say about that. I like that they're going away from the scripted side, for them wrestlers to actually get into into the storyline, for them to make up their own script kind of, I kind of like that.
Yeah. And he did mention that some guys do like to be more scripted, some guys like to do their own thing. Some guys like to have be given a script and then kind of put their own
change
twist
their
on
words. Yeah.
Yeah, which I like. I think they should be given the chance. If they're not completely comfortable, script it for them. Maybe in time they'll develop and get more comfortable with it. And
like Reigns, he's not comfortable.
Yeah, Reigns. I mean, Reigns. He has kind of, like I said in our past videos, he has kind of almost that Rock-esque kind of swagger to him. It's just he doesn't know how to use it yet,
Yeah.
But
And on the other hand, well, we're going to talk about someone who left. On the other hand, with CM Punk, when someone wrote a script for him, he ripped it up in their face. I wrote a script, ripped it up. Because he didn't like for them telling him what to say.
Yeah. And there's guys like The Rock who I don't think ever really needed a script. He can just, he goes out and he, right off the top of his head.
Speaks from the heart pretty much. Like, yeah.
And I think also, I feel like Bray Wyatt too. Bray, you can't even guess what he's going to say. He's just that kind of, he's a genius almost.
And with Paul Heyman, speaking of genius, Paul Heyman is a genius, and he is great on the mic. I love all of his promos.
I feel like I said in previous videos, I feel like me and Ryan were talking about it yesterday. I feel like with Reigns, right now, I have no issue with his promos because the only thing he is the big guy, the big tough guy. All he has to do is say a couple of words and just sound tough with it,
Yeah.
And Ryan agreed with me. He said, that's all he is right now. He doesn't have a real specific character. Bray Wyatt, that's a specific character, like that's a lot different from Roman Reigns. It's a lot easier probably for Bray to make his promos than it would be for Reigns, just because Bray has a specific blueprint he has to make his promos based off of. Where Reigns is just, it's just a big guy from the Shield right now. Like I said in the previous video, and I feel like right now he's doing a good job with all he can do with his promo.
And I think he's very similar to Bobby Lashley in that, where Bobby doesn't really have a specific character right now, but I still feel like Reigns is better, at least on the mic.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear Bobby Lashley at all because it's so painful.
It makes me cringe. It makes my skin fall off my face. I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Speaking of skin falling off of faces, let's talk about Raw. Last night's Raw wasn't that bad. But,
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, he thought. Austin asked, "What should we change about? What would you want to change about Raw?" Triple H. The first thing he said was, I'd love to have it back on the 2-hour thing, and I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah.
And Austin asked, "Could it go back to 2 hours? Is it possible? Or are you kind of stuck in that 2-hour thing for life? I mean, that 3-hour thing for life now because you've already had it." And of course, Triple H says anything could happen. But he said, it's difficult to write that 3rd hour.
Yeah.
And
that's
he said,
pretty much all the matches are pretty much thrown together matches.
And then he also said, he wants for Raw and I guess SmackDown and any of the other shows, he wants the stories to develop for a longer period of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like that also because, that will give more time for storylines to develop, like you said, but some fans like to have it like a shorter time. Some fans want it right there and right now.
And I think it's certain storylines, certain storylines you can drag out and, build over time, and then there's other storylines that should be shorter. It's just like on 2K14. You could build a rivalry, and you could have a short, medium, or long rivalry. We can have short, medium, and long storylines. They don't all have to be the same,
Yeah.
It just depends on who the superstars are, what the storyline is, how fans like it, and listen to fans.
Yeah, and I think the tough part about the 3 hours thing is it kind of it gives less meaning to the pay-per-views now, because now Raw is technically longer than the pay-per-views if you think about it.
It is.
Typically, a pay-per-view starts at 8 and ends at around 10:45, 10:50. And Raw is 8 to like 11:15. It always goes over. So I feel like 2 hours is better just because when you get a longer show, it's special.
And a lot of fans fall asleep during the 3-hour show. I know I do a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I like to have these special 3-hour shows, like how they used to do the draft, how they used to do the, slamming awards, which they still do, and when they used to like do the, those special Raw shows.
Yeah. I don't even necessarily think those should be 3 hours. I think Raw, SmackDown, all those should be just 2 hours, and then make the pay-per-views 3 hours. Put more matches in the pay-per-views.
Maybe around 9 matches, maybe. 9
Yeah,
10 matches.
Yeah, don't put so much promos in a pay-per-view. We don't need promos in a pay-per-view. We already know what's going on. Put more matches in pay-per-views. Make the pay-per-views longer so they're worth it for us. So it's worth people. So
go get the WWE Network.
Yeah, people who aren't sure if they want to get the network, $9.99 for a 3-hour pay-per-view, right there. You're gonna get so many more subscribers.
And NXT is worth the $9.99 alone, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he said that too. He said that in NXT, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Another thing
you saying something, Justin?
No.
Okay.
Actually, there was actually one thing I had to say. Well, how they talk about, like how some storylines really don't make sense sometimes. That's why sometimes we don't like these storylines. Like why are these two guys fighting? Like it doesn't make sense, and that's why we bash WWE a lot.
I think that's part of why people are kind of on the fence about Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, because that was just kind of randomly put together. There was no storyline to it, really.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't really doing much because, like I said in the Rumble 2015 prediction video, when WWE doesn't have anything to do for you, they're pretty much going to throw you in a tag team. That's what they do for a lot of superstars.
They should at least have a storyline to it, so it makes sense why they're together. They shouldn't just throw people together and then just throw them on Raw or SmackDown. They should have some sort of like build up to how they got together, But another thing I liked is he did word association with Triple H, just naming off different superstars and getting his, what comes to mind first. He said Shawn Michaels. And I'll go through each one and get your guys' opinion too. But he said Shawn Michaels. He said greatest in-ring performer ever. What do you guys think of that one?
DJ?
Yeah, I could say that. First word I thought about that came to mind for me was showstopper, though, just because you hear it all the time.
Yeah, that's mine.
He said Ric Flair, and Triple H said greatest all-around performer. which I can agree with. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's what came to mind for me.
Let's see.
um, I can even go with Ric Flair being. I didn't get to see a lot of Ric Flair, but maybe even greatest of all time. Ric Flair just so accomplished.
Yeah. Kevin Nash, he said very underrated mind for the business, which we don't really necessarily know as fans because but I really liked Kevin Nash in the business. I know he had a lot to do with NWO and how what they did with the NWO. So yeah, I could see him being really great mind for the business. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that one. He has a good mind for the business.
Yeah. Said Scott Hall. What's that?
Just hit me.
Well, you weren't
No,
saying nothing. This is a
no,
snap.
Justin was talking. Justin was talking, and I was letting him finish. Okay. I don't know. I like Kevin Nash though. I don't really have anything to say about Kevin Nash. You go.
What did you?
We're
You're
talking
fired.
about get him off the show. You're out here.
You're fired. Scott Hall, he said probably the guy I learned more from walking in the door than anyone else, and also one of the most underrated performers in ring. I could see that. He was really good, both as Scott Hall, and then before when he was in WWE. So just go back, watch the first ladder match. The first ladder match was amazing.
With Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, with Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, one thing I have to say, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all times.
Yeah.
Say about that. And
one thing I gotta say about Razor Ramon though, hey, yeah, that's all I gotta say. That's it.
Well, I mean, hey yo is all you gotta say. But anyway,
hey, yo.
This one he got him caught up, and you could tell when he said Eddie Guerrero. He thought for a minute. He said awesome, fun, miss him. And then he said when he would just let go and have fun and not get caught up in his own mind and insecurities, he was awesome. But like I said, you could tell he caught Triple H up where he was like, "Oh, what do I say about because even WWE doesn't. He's kind of in the same as Chris Benoit,
And China.
Yeah. So I like that he mentioned him. What do you guys think of Eddie Guerrero? I think he's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love his high flying. I love his high flying ability, and I like his lucha libre wrestling background. And yeah, and also one thing I'll miss him also. Rest in peace, Eddie.
Yeah, La cheating steal, and I miss him.
Viva la raza!
Yeah. All right. And next was Goldberg. Triple H said he was a guy that I would credit a lot with the change in intensity in the business. He had an intensity about him that would make people say, "Wow, look at that!" And he did. He was just a completely different character, just intensity-wise. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't. He just, I forgot what his undefeated record was, but he was undefeated for.
I think it was 150 something.
Yeah,
151, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, where you legitimately didn't think he was ever going to get beaten.
Like right back at first, he never thought he was going to get beat. Wait, yeah.
What do you guys think about Goldberg? Goldberg? No.
Rygold.
Yeah, it's Goldberg. I get confused with the two.
Goldback.
Goldback.
Hashtag Goldback.
DJ?
Um,
Whoever's
Who's next?
I don't know.
That's what I gotta go with.
Who's ever next? Who's ever next? All I'd say is Phoebe Moore. I'm joking. The web's wrong person. All I have to say is Man Beast. He's a beast.
He said Brock Lesnar. He just said freak in a good way. Yeah. What do you guys think of Brock Lesnar?
Go ahead, Justin.
Freaking nature.
Part-time, the streak.
That's all I have to say. Part-time. Part-time.
Part-timer.
$7.25 an hour. That's what he should get paid.
Zero. He should get paid $0 an hour. He doesn't do anything.
Another thing I picked up with Brock, though, reigning, defending, WWE Heavyweight Champion of the World.
Reigning.
Yeah, but
that's what
he defended. Oh.
He defends it at one pay-per-view a year.
Annoying. That's what bothers me the most is WWE champions don't really defend as much as they used to, you know?
I mean, they haven't defended it the last year, pretty much. Like, you know, I mean, they defended it for Royal Rumble last year, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. Did they defend it for WrestleMania? I mean, not WrestleMania. Elimination Chamber? I'm not sure, but yeah, they did. And they defended it for WrestleMania, Stream Rules. They didn't defend it for Payback, and then, you know, SummerSlam, and then Royal Rumble this year. So not very much pay-per-views they defended it. Oh yeah, Night Champions, forgot about that one.
But even like back in the Attitude Era, and even before that, early '90s, they would have championship matches, even WWE championship matches on like Raw. You know,
that's what I was about to say about that.
They don't do that anymore, which is
sad.
Unfortunate. But next, we got Owen Hart. He says, one of the nicest guys I knew and one of the funniest guys I knew. He said he was one of those guys that was so good in the ring that he would tell you, I'm going to go stink the joint out and have one of the worst matches ever, kind of just to, kind of as a joke, you know? But he was really, I unfortunately did not get to see much Owen Hart.
Yeah, same with me.
When I was younger. But from what I've seen, he was one of the best. It's a lot. It's hard for a lot of people to talk about because of what happened tragically. But I would have loved to see more. I try to see as much as I can on YouTube, on the network, whatever they have on the network. But he's one of those guys that, I mean, I wish I could go back and actually see more of his stuff live.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think
he is.
Nope.
No, he's not in the Hall of Fame. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Is there a chance he doesn't get in?
Is there a chance he doesn't get in? Or does
yeah.
get in?
I mean, because if he's not in by now,
maybe he could be in maybe this year or it could be next year. I mean, I don't think it's this year. Maybe it could be
Is Brett in?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Brett's in, I think.
Yeah, I think Brett's in. Yeah, I think because wasn't he inducted? I think it was no, I don't remember what year it was.
I think Owen should, but I feel like WWE overlooks him for Brett.
Yeah.
You know.
I haven't seen a lot of him either. I want to go watch some of his matches.
Yeah, I might go watch them on the network.
I think this one kind of stunned Triple H a little bit too. Was he expecting this one either?
No. I think it kind of, yeah, but I think it was in a different way, you know.
I wasn't really expecting Owen Hart to be named on the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting China to be named on here either, but she was.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But anyway, next he said Bret Hart. Triple H said, unbelievable technician. Maybe sometimes takes himself too seriously, which I could see that.
Yeah,
I feel
because he
like,
called himself the best there was, and best there is, and best ever will be.
well, even not even that. I just think he was kind of too serious sometimes, just in general.
Yeah.
Loosen up. Um, like Owen, Owen was kind of. You could tell he was having fun. What do you guys think of Brett, the Hitman?
I didn't see much of him either. I didn't get to see much of him either. I try to wait and see if he's gonna talk first because I don't know who's gonna talk first. So we're waiting on each other. Okay. Hey,
Yeah, we're just waiting.
you stay over there, Casey. You stay over there.
Um, you know, I do have to agree. He's probably the best technical wrestler. One of the best technical wrestlers there is. I have that Bret Hart Dungeon Collection DVD, and dude, that DVD is kind of underrated. I mean, I really enjoyed it because he's probably my top five favorite wrestlers of all time, so around there. But yeah, I would have to pick. Yeah, I do have to agree with what he said on the podcast.
Yeah. All right. Undertaker, he just said respect, which I mean, that's all you really need to say about Undertaker. I mean,
Badass.
if you're a wrestling fan and you don't respect him, you need to get the hell out of here. Just go, get out.
Get out.
The street.
Just get out. Just get out.
Leave now.
Leave our video right now. If you're not, if you don't.
Before we kick everybody out, can we just go the streak, please?
The streak. That's all. Say a prayer.
We're not done with word association. No. Next, Kane. He said underrated, and he's a constant. Solid performer. Which I mean, I won't take that away from him. He is a constant. I just think the gimmicks that they're giving him now are
like corporate Kane. Like he doesn't scare me anymore. He doesn't really scare me anymore. Change him back to the Big Red Monster or just retire him. That's all I'm saying.
DJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't even like the Demon Kane thing either. I like the Big Red Machine Kane. They just need to give him that WWE Immortals. Give him that attire. We'll be good. Be good. I like that one.
Yeah. He said Pat Patterson. He said genius for the business. And I respect Pat so much. I would have loved to have seen early stuff of Pat Patterson because, unfortunately, I'm at that age where, I really got into wrestling, Attitude Era type. I mean, I was a fan before that, but when I really got into it was like Attitude Era, late 90s, early 2000s. And that's when Pat Patterson and Joe Briscoe were, just the Stooges. So, unfortunately, I didn't really get to see, back when he was, in taken seriously.
Yeah, same with me. I didn't get to see much of those days because I started watching around 2000. That's the year I started watching. So I didn't get to see much of his days back in the early 90s and 80s, and I didn't get to see much of those days. So I can't really say much on Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have nothing on Pat Patterson because I didn't really get a chance to see him either.
Wasn't Paul Heyman announced on here? I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Anyway, he said Michael Hayes. Triple H said so underrated for his contribution to the business across the board, which I definitely. I mean, the matches he had, like Triple H said with the Von Erichs. Also, if we didn't have Michael Hayes and the Freebirds, we wouldn't have guys like Shawn Michaels. We wouldn't have the the flamboyant, type of guys, which a lot of people I don't think realize as much. So, and also I don't think, in a way, I don't think the Hardys would have taken off as much as they did, because he was their manager for a while, and he kind of really took them under his wing and taught them early on. That's what I first remembered him from, personally. But then I did watch his early stuff with the Freebirds and everything like that. So what do you guys think?
Nothing really on Michael Hayes. I feel like he's been around for a while, so I think that's really the only thing. I didn't really get to see him in the ring, but I know he's been around for a while, and he's been in the background for a while, especially now.
Yeah.
I think Justin stepped away.
But I think we're close to the end anyway, so. Birdie, birdie, bird. We have taken a quick break, I guess. I don't know.
He should be back now. He just didn't,
Justin, come back.
I'm here.
Okay. Anything about Michael Hayes?
Not too much about him. I mean, maybe with his talent relations type stuff, what he used to do with the rider, but that's pretty much all I have to say about Michael Hayes.
All right. Anything else about the podcast, guys?
Weren't they talking about Paul Heyman? Did we miss him, or I summed it up in one word, pretty much, about Paul Heyman? Because I can remember there was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. It sounds familiar that they talked about him, but I can't remember. I didn't
remember talking about him after Brock Lesnar.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't know. We'll come back to it if we think about it in another video again. I don't know. Any other thoughts on the podcast?
Who do you think will be next on the podcast? I think it should be Paul Heyman, in my opinion. That'd be really awesome to listen to him, what he has to say about WWE and what.
Should be The Rock.
The Rock. That'd be pretty cool.
I could see Stephanie.
Stephanie, I could see her doing it.
Okay.
I could sit there for hours and listen to Heyman. Listen to the questions that
guys
asked him.
It's gonna be Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon.
Shane O'Mac is coming back.
Speaking of Shane McMahon, I was watching WrestleMania 17 on the WWE Network.
I would watch that over and over just for Shane O'Mac. I miss Shane.
Money, 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 money. I love that theme.
He was so good. His coast to coast was amazing.
Money talks.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna be on next.
I'm pretty excited. When do you think it's gonna be? Maybe around Mania time? Maybe March? I don't know. Maybe they might do it. Wait, when was the last one? Was in November, so they'll probably do it every other month, maybe. They could.
Maybe, but the other thing is, a week from tomorrow we get the NXT special event, which is exciting. I'm excited about. Finally get to see Kevin Owens and.
The title. Oh, sorry.
What's that?
Finally get to see Kevin Owens win the title.
No, we get to see him try. He'll try.
Yeah,
he will. Try. But nobody can beat my boy Sami Zayn.
It's gonna be one hell of a match.
Nobody can beat my boy.
And I need to buy those T-shirts at Finn Balor and Kevin Owens T-shirt on.
Except for Finn Balor. Finn Balor might be able to beat him, but that's about it. No one else can do.
Well, but Tyler Breeze has already beaten him multiple times. So
Yeah, but it wasn't for the title,
to
so it
get,
doesn't count.
every T-shirt I need to get is the Bullet
He
Club
can't beat him
t-shirt.
for the title.
I need to get that Bullet Club T-shirt.
can't. He can do it.
Tyler Breeze, my boy.
All right.
That's my main man. Oh, no, Enzo Amore can do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do that after this NXT special.
No, Enzo, he's just gonna go right to the main roster into the title picture.
Like Adam Rose did.
He's gonna be the new world heavyweight champion, Enzo Amore. It
Like
has
he
ring to it, doesn't it?
He's going to do the night after WrestleMania 31.
He's gonna
I
do
can see
it.
that. He's gonna do it. I can see that. But
And your new world heavyweight champion, Enzo Amore. It gives me chills. It gives me chills.
I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking of this, dude. Look at that.
Chills. Look at it. Look at the chills. Chills. Chills.
Chills, we can't even see your arm. Put your arm up more.
Okay, here. See, chills. Chills. Do you see the chills? They're chills.
Yeah, I see.
Chills.
Oh gosh. But
It's gonna be the longest reigning defending world heavyweight champion in history. Enzo Amore. I think we need to end this video.
yeah, I think we do need to before we get on to some more topics. I think we do this in every video, in my opinion.
But that's the fun part of it because go off the script sometimes, especially about John Cena because these two.
I'm about to get on my rant with you.
Listen. We don't bring up that name.
Fuckboy Buckethead.
Anyway.
Let's keep talking about the devil in church. You don't do that. What's wrong with you?
Hashtag fuckboy Buckethead. That's the name.
Got my shake on, ready.
Anyway, this was our thoughts on the Stone Cold podcast. That he did with Triple H. I thought it was pretty good. I just thought that, Triple H danced around the answer was a little bit more than I would have liked. But, it's going to be interesting to see when they're going to have another one, if they'll have another one. And what, who is going to be, who's going to be on it, like we said.
Another one with Jim Ross.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'll go ahead and give you your closing remarks, starting with Casey, then going to Justin, and then coming back around.
All right. Well, this has been the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. The only reason you come is for me, so we know that. But
no, I'm the star.
On Twitter, over there. But yeah, keep up with us on Twitter. You don't, but we'd like you to. We might. I was thinking about making a separate Twitter just for the podcast. I might do that. That way we can do just news. What we're gonna do, videos and stuff. But we have some videos coming up. NXT, TNA. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah. Justin. Justin.
Here? Are you still here? Justin?
Justin. Hello.
I said John Cena and he just froze.
Why'd you have to say John Cena?
Okay, so what happened? Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's back.
Your guys' stuff froze. Like it. I didn't see you guys.
Yours froze.
Yours froze. But so what you're talking about again?
We're doing the closing.
What'd you say? Oh, you're doing the closing. Okay. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to the Instant Classic Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you don't, I'm gonna come beat you up at your house. I'm serious. I'm not lying there.
Oh.
But also don't forget to subscribe to Juggernaut's there. And I said, whoops! Oh my God, it's still not coordinated right there. Juggernaut097, and go follow me on Twitter at the True JSB. You'll see me tweeting during pay-per-views, during anything about wrestling and sports in general. So yeah, and also go subscribe to Instant Classic Pro Wrestling Podcast. And I think we should get a website someday. That'd be pretty cool. Have a website. Put our videos up there. That'd be really cool.
We do. It's called YouTube.
You're very funny, Casey. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it's a fun video. We talked about this thing that we talked about, and it was fun. I got some new subscribers to shout out though, at least one, maybe two. Rock Star Tom 26 Elite, thank you, sir. He's got 1 subscriber, so he's got a nice channel up there. And Gary Norton, I can't remember if I shouted him out before, but I probably did. But it's okay. Go check him out as well. Also, there was a guy, guess he's the live person of the day. I don't know how to say his name, but I'll try. Watam Mish. It's a difficult name. Gronsky. I'm just going to say Mr. Gronsky because his last name is a lot easier to say than your first name. So thank you. You at least said yes to the video, so I'm not sure if you're still here or not. If you are, comment and be like, I'm here. Woo! So feel free to follow me on Twitter. It's right there. Bam. At Beast Mode on 300. If you follow me from a video, please let me know that you're following me from a video, because sometimes I get random people following me and I don't know who they are. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're coming from the videos. But if you do follow me from the video, just let me know. Just be like, hey, I'm a fan, or hey, ICWP, or something. Just let me know. Like,
what?
Just let me know what's going down. Because sometimes people follow me and I'm like, who is this person? So, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This was our thoughts on the Stone Cold podcast recently. So, comment your thoughts. What were your thoughts about it? How do you feel? Who's the next guest, you think? Comment on everything. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because that would be fantastic if you do that. I'd love you so much. See you guys later.